He was very good at, in no particular order, hockey, squash, tennis, and football. And, we grew up in a village, and, after school, my brothers and I played sport. That's what we did. And so from a young age, I played rugby, football, cricket, hockey, squash, golf, and tennis. And I loved every minute of it. So it's a bit of a tangent. Reed School in Cobham, where I started when I was 11, that was set up as an orphanage by Andrew Reed over 205 years ago. And I always remember when I was there, I was on a full scholarship. My education was paid for. And that was kind of because I was good at tennis. And I always thought, was that right? I always felt very fortunate. I bought it at 11. And again, just to elaborate on I think the point you're making, for me, environment is so important. And there's two sides to environments. There's good environments and there's bad environments. And so when I think about my upbringing, two older brothers playing sport, they're 4 and 5 years older than me. So when you're 6 and they're 10 and 11, that's sort of almost double your age. You've got to fight hard to be accepted into the game, let alone be able to compete. So that competitive environment was so important at whatever it was. But I also played a lot of team sports. I played rugby, I played football, I played cricket and hockey at the Dragon, and still played a little bit when I was at Reeds. However, I knew from the age of 6 that I wanted to play tennis. I started playing tennis when I was 3, and my mum took me to Wimbledon the first time when I was 6 in 81. And I watched ball play on the first Monday, and I've still got my ticket, and I could still tell you where we were sitting. And so, but those ingredients, that foundation, that environment, that journey was mine. And for sure, that shaped my personality. And at the end of the day, I've always loved what I was doing. Even those, I can remember matches when I was 6, my first tournament matches. I can remember playing short tennis under 8. I can remember, crying after I lost, but I still loved it. I was disappointed to lose. And that's where, that journey in those formative years. And I remember when I got injured, just when I started on the David Lloyd Academy when I was 11, probably nearly 12, I'd only been there for less than a term. And I had a problem with my elbow, and they couldn't work out what was wrong with it for a long time. And I had different x-rays, and I ended up seeing David Lloyd's godfather, actually, who was a delightful doctor called Alan Murley. And he recognized that my elbow issue was what they called little leaguers. And so the little league baseball players in America, it was an injury they got over there with the pitchers. So they were throwing a lot. And because I'd been playing a lot of tennis while my bones were still soft, I'd pulled a piece of bone away. And so I wasn't allowed to play tennis at all for 6 months. And then when I started back playing, I was allowed to play 5 minutes a day for the first week. And then I was allowed to play 10 minutes a day for the second week, building it up. So I didn't play a tournament for 2 years. And I think, I look back at that and, how did I deal with that mentally? And mentally, it was very hard. It was very frustrating because the thing that I enjoyed doing most was playing tennis, and I wasn't allowed. But I had 2 options. I could give up, or I could, be in the gym every day and, keep fit and get fitter, stronger, faster. And that was the decision that I took. But I think as well, certainly in sport, the higher up you go, I think it becomes more and more about dealing with adversity.